Hello, everyone. Thank you so much. Yeah, we've moved through this agenda really, really well, and we are very excited and very nervous having done this online for the first time. We're learning. I just want to encourage anybody, if you need to just take a stretch, don't do that. And because we certainly want people to feel like they can focus and have their attention on the next little bit with the young people. So speaking of what is happening in the world today, every day is a bit different. Every day is a bit more challenging, but we're learning a lot. And the biggest thing I can say is there are two things. One is if you want to learn about how to keep going and being resilient, you look to the community that we are engaged with. If you want to find the strength to do that, you look to the community we're engaged with. There's just no question that the work that we're doing is critical and important to building the capacity of young people so that they will then have the opportunity to take on in the next generations ahead. The young people that you're going to meet tonight, and we are so deeply, deeply grateful for the fact that they are sharing with you their work, their expression. It's personal, it's public, it's an amazing message. And I've just absolutely been seriously so grateful to be able to kind of hang with them a couple of times in the last week when we haven't been able to hang at all at the space, been able to have the opportunity to hang online and just have some conversations. And I think you're going to really, truly get some insight into what it means to be an artist and a culture maker, a culture changer in Toronto and what that is like. And then especially to add on who in our lives, when in our lives, in our generation, have we ever had to manage something like COVID and being an artist and being such an active change maker in the community. So I am thrilled that we have Ariel, Nigel, and Jamal who are going to join us. The way this is going to work is that we're going to have each of them present their work. At the end of that, we ask you to keep yourself on mute, but we will go into a bit of a interview process, and I'll ask them a few questions to respond to. And then I really want to encourage people to ask questions. So at that point, I'll come back on and we'll say, you know, if we could, everybody could be visual for these folks. I think that would be lovely for those who are comfortable. If we could, you know, go on our cameras and be able to see each other during the time of questions, that would be greatly appreciated. But I encourage you right now to sit back, enjoy, and our first person up is Jamal Nugent, and he's going to share with us the work that he's been doing. A tremendous artist, photographer, dancer, just an amazing human being, and has been such an inspiration in our community and such a strong leader. So thank you, Jamal, and go for it. Tell us all about what you're doing.
Hello, everyone. Not gonna lie, pretty nervous right now. Wait, can you hear me? Can everyone hear me? Thumbs up. Everyone can hear? Okay, good. Yeah, not gonna lie, a little bit nervous, but you know what the heck. Okay, so so my name's Jamal. I'm a photographer and dancer as well. I'm also basically that's me. And yeah, basically there's some of my photos. This over here, this one over here is actually just a photo I took on, I believe, college, and it was actually just kind of basically I wanted to kind of like tell a story about what is actually happening in the world right now and kind of isolate this particular item, which is like a face mask, and how there's like a whole controversy, or like this whole there's this whole kind of like communication around like what is happening, what are the precautions that should be taken, who should be taking these precautions, should this be implemented on everyone, on individuals, and basically kind of just like that. So basically with this particular shot, I wanted to kind of just like provoke conversation and also just kind of like really showcase the idea that like basically we're basically in a very different situation right now, where things that used to be normal are no longer normal, and the new normal is just something that people still have to kind of get used to. Like it's actually, it's kind of odd because it's like you'd see before this there was like things you'd see, I don't know, maybe like juice boxes or random like pop cans on the floor, and now you're seeing like face masks. So it's like in a weird kind of bad way, it's like this litter is still kind of happening, but it's like a different form of litter. And I feel like this in particular just kind of like really kind of just really I would say kind of communicates or kind of just tells or speaks to me in terms of like that this changes so drastically to the point that what we normally see on the street day to day is even being implemented or even being affected. So yeah, there's that. And then maybe move on to the next shot. Okay, this one I really enjoy. I think this particular photo really speaks in terms of like one, like yeah. So basically, like this photo, you're seeing there's the H&M store. It's all boarded up. You have this one individual there walking. One thing I want to mention was the fact that it's like this one person on the street that used to be so busy. This was on Bay, just near or not Bay. This was just near Bloor and Yonge. So Bloor and Yonge is a pretty busy area, and this was midday, I think around like 2 p.m. And this was the site. It was like very, very empty. Stores are boarded up. You have this one individual walking. You can kind of even see like the little mask that they're wearing. And I feel like it's interesting because there's all this space that's given to these businesses, and yeah, at the same time, there's so much space there's so many people that don't have housing. There's so many, and there's things that are just so kind of, I feel like the city just so kind of like compacted in a way where it's hard for people to live. It's even hard for people to social distance, to keep the 2 meters when you're walking down the street, because like the sidewalks aren't even designed for that really. And then you have this huge building which is completely useless right now because it's not being used in any way, but it's occupying so much space. So yeah, that's that. Yeah, and in this shot, yeah, so basically with this one, I feel like this one was very interesting because right now there's like, and even ongoing or before, there's a huge kind of conversation about like housing. Like housing has been such an issue for so long within Toronto. And then one thing I love about the shot is the fact that it kind of shows the fact that like this housing crisis is, one, it's real, two, it's been here from time, and now it's clearly more apparent because you're seeing tents almost everywhere. And even in terms of individuals who was maybe like individuals that were just kind of like making ends meet and being able to survive, it's like something like this happens, and what are they like, what like, yeah, and something like this happens, and what can they resort to? And then there's the idea of public space, where you have this one individual, he's kind of waiting at the red light to kind of cross, and he has his mask on. This is like public space to him, but I guarantee but there's a lot of individuals that will see a tent on the floor and they're like, oh, this should not be here. This should not be here. This is not public space, when in reality, like, it is. And these are just individuals that are just trying to survive. So yeah, this one I feel like really, really kind of bring up the topic as to like what exactly is public space and who exactly is public space for. Because anyone will say, oh, this public space is for anyone. But in reality, you're seeing like camps in other places being turned down, people being told to move somewhere else. And it's like, where are these people going to move from? And what spaces are, like, again, in terms of like where they're moving from or where they're being told to move from, like these spaces were classified as public spaces. So if they're not public spaces, why are they being removed? But yeah, so yeah, the majority of my photo, see you, Phyllis. Yeah, but I just feel like the majority of the photos that I selected here were just kind of like, basically just to kind of have a conversation about what's happening. Basically, not even just necessarily what's happening right now, but in terms of things that were happening before. And I feel like a lot of it's like there is an escalation of these individual or these things happening now, but it's just kind of like, it was happening before and it's becoming more apparent, it's becoming more visual now that this whole situation is here. There's certain individuals that didn't necessarily think of this situation because they were never in that particular situation, or they never had to think or never had to worry about it. But now as things happen, as like financial struggles happen for everyone, there's all these ideas, there's all these things that are happening and that they have to think about. And in terms, and even just like visually seeing it and seeing it happen more and more and more. Like I know just on there was it was I believe it was Bathurst and Queen, or Bathurst and Queen area. I remember riding past there with my bike one day, and I saw a couple tents. I was like, okay, cool. Like there's a couple tents happening here. And within a week, it just like almost doubled that. So it's very apparent to see these things happening, and it's happening at a, I feel like I feel like it's happening at an alarming rate. And I feel like a majority of it is also the fact that people are being shunned out of these so-called public spaces, but they're not really, there's no resources for them to really go to. But yeah. So I kind of just wanted to, basically I just kind of wanted to express that and kind of just basically showcase that and what's happening. But yeah, that's it.
Oh, thanks so much, Jamal. Jamal, by the way, is one of the co-researchers on the Making with Place research project. And so some of these photos, except for that last one, which is so stunning, were shown to us also. And we had a great discussion about it. And I think somebody had mentioned that one of the other researchers mentioned that the ban on tents was lifted right now during this time. Is that, do we know if that's true? Not sure if it is.
So basically, yes. So basically, from what I've heard, that the ban on tents have been lifted, but they're still taking people out of these so-called public these so-called spaces, or so-called public spaces. I think last week there was like a couple, or there was like some officers that actually cleared out a spot. I think just under I think Spadina and Lakeshore area, if I remember correctly. But yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's like they say one thing, but
yeah. Of course. Thanks so much. I just feel that your photos are articulate, and so are you talking about them. So I love hearing from you, and I love seeing what you expose to us through your pictures. It's really a gift. And with that, I just want to introduce our second artist, Ariel Elofer. I hope I'm pronouncing that properly. Really came to us as a placement first, and I'm so thrilled that you are joining us to develop your artistic practice. So let's hear from Ariel.
Hi, my name is Ariel. I actually did not come as a placement student. I came before I was a placement student as an artist. And then I came back as a placement student, which has been an interesting journey. But yeah, this is my artist statement. I'm a chronically ill, disabled, Moroccan, Arab, Jewish, Sephardic, queer, gender nonconforming artist. I've been creating art in different forms for as long as I can remember. It's been an outlet for me, not a choice, but an instinct. And I'm not going to go through the rest of it. There's a lot there, but a lot of my art right now is focusing on disability and COVID and what that looks like in this city and across the entire world, and what it's looked like specifically in places like Spain and Italy. So if we can move to the next slide. This is a piece called The Golden Mask. It's about the use of ventilators and who decides who gets them. It's hard to look at for some, but the idea is to highlight the inequities that have always existed and that now are being used to decide who lives and dies. Yeah, I think that's all I'd like to say about this piece. This one is called The Golden Mask, Do You Care Now? And I decided to flip what people have decided is unimportant to what the people decide is important. Babies are to be protected, vulnerable, thankfully not seemingly affected as much by COVID. So the idea of a baby not getting a mask as opposed to your grandparents, as opposed to someone who's much older. In the UK, they decided people with learning disabilities would most likely not get masks. There's an equation. So it goes far beyond who would survive, and it goes right to the idea of who we think deserves to survive and whose lives are deserved to be lived. So these are my two pieces.
Thanks. It's actually impossible to fill the chat up with comments because I just find these pieces to be really, really profound and vulnerable and straight and to the point. And so I really appreciate it. It's funny to see your pieces here with the yellow highlighted in the mask when we just saw Jamal's photography with the yellow jacketed person who was tenting. So it's this accent, and also in the corner of the frame that you've created here, just with, it looks like little eyes, and it's got some yellow in there too. And so I really appreciate this also. Thank you. Okay, I think I'm supposed to move to the next person, and then I believe we're gonna have questions afterwards, right? Because I know it would be great to hear, I'll dive into these pieces a little bit more. And thanks so much, everybody, for doing this. And so Nigel Edwards, who also, by the way, is a co-researcher on the Making the Place project. Nigel has been with us also for quite a few years now. Again, started as a community artist, and has become quite a leader in the community and a real teacher to us about movement and health and movement in our bodies. And we've always appreciated his leadership. So Nigel, I'd love for you to take the stage right now.
Hi, everyone. Can y'all hear me? Thumbs up. Awesome. Hi, so I'm Nigel. Pronouns are he, him. Stage name is Nomadland. Chose that name because I feel like I'm always moving, shape-shifting, figuring things out within and outwards as well. I've been a dance artist for about 10, 11 years. From there, I dove into sound design, facilitation, community art, which is where my favorite home sketch comes in. And a lot of this, basically, I've been just exploring different realms of creativity that resonate with me. Yeah, I know we're supposed to share one of my videos. Okay, awesome, there it is. Voila, magic. So this one is called Alone Together. I'll just let it play. I won't say too much. So this was actually shot on my roof, which I spontaneously saw this ledge, and I was like, maybe I should get a ladder and see what's up there. Got a ladder, went up there, and was blown away by all of this space that was, isolated. And I messaged my friend. I was like, hey, let's do something here. And a day later, showed up with a drone. And we're just had a conversation of how can we show the city are like, whoever's watching, how we can figure it out with what we have. How can we, keep moving forward with the space we have, with what we have, the surface area we can take. How can we take up space within the amount of space that we are able to show up in, and do it with, do it for I guess in a proud way of like, we're still here. Our creativity hasn't faltered. This is actually our fuel to keep going, because in times like this, we don't have a lot left to hold on to in times like this. And at least for like people like us, like dancers, movers, artists, this is our bread and butter. This is how we keep going. This is how we operate. This isn't a hobby for us. This is us making the bed. This is how we continue the day. So being able to find a way to have that release, to like breathe in a time like this, was a huge deal for me. And the name Alone Together was about, I guess, trying to liberate everybody that's, doing their thing from far away or close, and still trying to uplift each other, whether we're not physically together or not. It's more about like seeing it's like a bat signal. You see it in the air, and everyone knows, okay, like you see that thing in the sky, so okay, we're still good. We're still here, we're still creating, we're still trying our best. And also, if you can't create at this time, that is okay. There's still people that are here to like give you energy to keep going. If your routine right now is to sleep and make sure you eat, that's good enough, like as long as you have these little reminders or nudges that like we're still here and we're still with you. Sorry, I kind of trailed along, but just wanted to really emphasize how important it is for us to like still have a platform, no matter how we get to it, and make it work. Yeah.
So, oh my gosh, okay, everybody, please put your mics on and just give it to these three incredible people. Let's hear claps, whatever. Whoa! Give it up, give it up, give it up. That's a lot of work. It's a lot of emotional labor to share this. So we cannot tell you how grateful. I mean, it's just like, blows me away every time.
Appreciate it a lot, for real. Thank you so much.
Beautiful, just beautiful. Thank you, Nigel. Thank you, Ariel. And thank you, Jamal. We're not done quite yet, though. We want to hear some more.
We are not done.
We are not done. So
absolutely not.
We can bring the three folks up on the screen, and I'm going to just share a little conversation. Talk to you. That's right. Yeah, we'll talk to each other. Awesome. Thank you so much. I've got chills. I'm just so excited now. I'm excited. Okay, this is great. You just have no idea, and especially because we don't have the space right now, it's just so hard right, to find that connection. So do we have everybody up? Do we have, I have, where's Jamal and Ariel? Let's get you up here. I only see Dale. I love Dale, but I want the other folks.
Hey, Dale.
Oh, okay. I've got Nigel.
I'm here.
I think, can you?
Ariel.
I'm a mango lassie.
Okay. Let's start with some questions. So I've, I worked with you folks around some of the questions that we wanted to ask, and there was like 20 of them. And of course I want to ask them all, but we don't have time. So I did identify a few of them, which you agreed to. So thank you for doing that. I'm actually going to ask the first question of Ariel, if you could. Tell us, can you talk to us a little bit about, why you do what you do, like why art and that whole exploration of becoming an artist?
Well, it's interesting. I really liked what Nigel said about making the bed. That was it. I've been isolated for a long time due to disability and chronic illness, and art it's an emotional release. I used to call it like emotional vomiting. It's just whatever is pent up that you're feeling, that you're dealing with it. We go through a lot of things that are not fair and are not equitable. And so when you feel these emotions and you see these situations and you see these tents or the lack of vents or the ladder up to the rooftop, you take the chance to make the art because it releases something. So for me, it's a release. It's necessary. It's not a choice.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. My next question is for Jamal. If it could, Jamal, bring you back up in your beautiness. Can you describe for us a little bit about a real life situation that actually inspired you?
It's hard to like narrow it down because I feel like it inspired so many things.
It's a legit answer.
Yeah. Let me think. Let's see. Am I on? Okay. I guess. Let me think. I'm like trying to think of one to
Pick
go
one,
with.
yeah.
I think.
Was there a particular time or even in a moment? It could be in the last week, like something that has inspired you, and just to chat a little bit about that.
I think, to be honest, or is there an echo? Can you guys hear that, or is it just me?
I think it's just you. I think we're okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think to be honest, the photo with the mask. I think for me that was like a really kind of just like a thought process where I was just kind of thinking like wow, how it's kind of like how you see stuff on the floor, and like most of the time you kind of just you're just like, oh yeah, this happens all the time, that's the world, that's the world we live in. And then to see something like a mask, and at first I kind of thought to myself, I was like, wow, I just want to throw this on the ground. Like, what is this, like the fact that this would be on the ground. And then I guess it kind of just made me just gave me a conversation to myself where I was just kind of thinking about the fact that this is becoming a normal thing. This is what our world is kind of changing to. And just as to how fast it kind of happened.
Right.
Yeah, I think that was definitely very, very inspiring. And I think kind of after that, I kind of started to look around and just kind of look at things a little bit more differently. I kind of started to analyze just the way I navigate throughout the world. Sometimes I'll be walking and I would notice it just feels sometimes as if everyone's kind of suspicious of everyone. So it's just kind of a really weird and sort of odd change, but it's becoming this normal sort of thing. And yeah, that's as I was looking at that photo, I just kind of had that sort of I just kind of had those thoughts and I was kind of thinking about it. And then yeah, it was really interesting to kind of just sit there and just think about it as I was staring at this photo, pretty much. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. That's incredible. It's a really great picture of what it is that we're in right now, for sure. Thank you. Nigel, can I ask you a question? Can you tell us a little bit about how you are a dancer, so you're moving all the time, but can you talk to us a little bit about how art moves through you? What is it that you're feeling, and what is it? Can you describe for those of us who don't do that?
So I guess for me, it's been about storytelling. Sure, I see the comment, my background. As you can see, I am away for a little bit. I'll be back in the city for as soon as possible. Just kidding. Okay. Don't mind the palm tree. Dance for me is literally my tool of storytelling. I haven't always been as vocal, haven't been able to explain myself or say who I am through words for a very long time. I would say the past 2 years I've been able to explain myself better. I guess my dance process is not through going to take classes in a studio every day. It's actually from the little things of like, when I was 8 years old, what was I doing? And how can I, or on a day that I learned how to dance, how can I tell that story of that age or what I was doing at the time through just physical movement. I know it looks like I'm dancing right now when I'm talking. Storytelling is a huge thing for me. It's definitely just an example. A lot of the work that I've been doing lately, it's been what's the word? Like location based. So example, they're like, hey, like you're in this, you're gonna have to do a 10-minute piece in a closet. Yeah. Like this wide, and you have to figure out ways to make it interesting, you know? So like I would tap into, okay, like closet, just thinking of all the things. Oh, like when I was a kid, there was like, I used to put those glow-in-the-dark stickers on my ceiling, just like random things like that. And I know everybody in this room remembers those glow-in-the-dark stickers.
Oh yeah.
And all of you are like, yeah, you're right. Yeah. And how would I imagine, like grabbing stickers, something falling, just like being very visual, and how can I make that picture come look live in front of you without having the actual physical things in front of you.
Awesome. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So yeah, I tap into something really deep inside, and kind of just let it go on autopilot and trust the power of storytelling, you know? Yeah.
You can see it. You can see it in every move you make. I don't know. This is this is so crazy. Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, even just talking just then, I totally zoned out and like.
All right. Just going to it.
Yeah, okay. It's like when I really hear something, I really get into it. Reading the comments here.
Yeah, we'll get to the questions from the rest for sure. Okay, I want you to answer them. I'm just gonna get to a couple more questions that we wanted to make sure we covered. But yeah, thank you. I mean, I can just feel it from all of you, just sort of what that process must be like. It's just phenomenal. I do want to just touch on, like, we are here because we're all a part of Sketch in some form or another, that we've all engaged with Sketch, all of us. And personally, even though we work there, maybe we get paid through there. Maybe it has had an impact on our lives. I can say personally, as well as many people that have been involved there. Can you, I'm going to put this out, anyone can answer, or we can just talk amongst each other. What role has Sketch played in your life? Can you talk to us a little bit about what role, and what does the studio space mean to you? Especially in a time when we don't have it. Ariel? Thank you. Yeah.
I'll speak to this because Phyllis actually spoke to it. Is the thing is it has changed so many things for me. I came into the space not calling myself an artist. I came into the space not in school, not having stable housing, not having a lot of different things that I've gotten since going into Sketch, and I decided to apply for school at Sketch. I remember coming back to talk to Sonia about being a placement student and if it had been long enough. I remember conversations of just grieving through things at Sketch that had happened. There's a lot of conversations and grieving that happens at Sketch as well. Yeah. There was so much skill sharing. Jamal taught me how to take shots of my artwork. And that is how
collaboration.
Can't say I'm great at it, but I'm getting better. So just things like that. You walk into the space and you see what other people are doing. And I used to call it Narnia because it felt like every time you go through another door, you discover like another magical room.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
That's nice. Thank you. Jamal or Nigel, do you want to respond to that? Just give a bit of a family. Yes.
Yeah, I can definitely jump on.
Thank you.
As soon as you said Narnia, I totally
Yeah.
felt that. It's just one of those places where you enter, all the layers, you can shut off the masks, all the masks are taken off. And it's like, there's like this different type of breath that you take when you walk in and you're like, oh, okay, we're in sketch now. Everything is, everything is up to you kind of thing.
Yeah.
The world you want for yourself, the world you want to create, you can do that here. Like it just had the energy of like, okay, like what do I want to be? What do I want to do? What do I want to create today? Like there's no one's pushing you or rushing you. More so there's people influencing you if you need it, But like if you need it, they like, they have you like in every way possible, to the point where it can be so overwhelming because you're like, wow, I have all this like amazing support and outlets. It's like, okay, give me like 2 minutes to like recalibrate and see where I can start.
Nice.
I mean, for me, yeah.
Super
For me,
generous.
sketch is like actually like legit a second home. It's like if I'm at home and my first home and I don't know, spiraling or just feeling out of touch with myself in general, sometimes I'll just go there, not to create, just to like go there and literally sit on the floor. Like I'll go there and sit down and like there's just some energy in the room. Like, okay, like, we're back. Like, now I can get back on whatever I needed to do. Whether it was just replying to an email or making a masterpiece,
Everyone is a masterpiece. It's perfect.
Yeah, exactly. It was just a hub. It's like it's a home for freedom of expression, I would say. Yeah.
Wow.
Best way to put it.
I don't know about anybody else, but like who works at Sketch, but that's very humbling. Thank you so much. I want to say we have about 3 minutes and I want to get to some of the questions that you've so generously asked as well. So Emma, do you want to give us maybe one for Jamal?
Yeah, so the first question comes from Dale, and it's for Jamal, and it's what parts of Toronto are the most...
Actually, I see it here now, so why don't I just go ahead.
Okay.
What parts of Toronto are most interesting for you to shoot? Neighborhoods. You're on mute.
Oh. Can you hear me? Yeah, okay.
Oh, we lost him.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, no. Okay, we'll come back to you, Jamal. Hang on. You figure out your challenge there. And I'm going to go and say, ask, I did see another one here. So all three of you have shown such resiliency, resourcefulness, and selflessness on how your art focuses on support required for others. How do you think we can teach these lessons, great question, to the rest of society? How can we bring others along? Who would like to try that while Jamal figures out his sound?
No, we could hear Jamal.
Hold on. I think,
Jamal.
I think it might be your mic.
Yeah. We can hear him.
Okay.
Okay, so, the question is interesting, or what I find, or which neighborhoods I find interesting, or what I find interesting to shoot. I would say, is it an example as a neighborhood, or just meant like in like neighborhoods, interesting neighborhoods to shoot?
Exactly, interesting neighborhoods that you enjoy shooting or you find interesting.
Okay. I would have to say I would say two. There are two, and it's very the reason why I find them interesting because they're very, very different from each other. And one would be Chinatown. I really enjoy walking through Chinatown and kind of taking photos there, just because of I feel like the contrast in the way Chinatown used to be in terms of it's being so busy and so lively, whereas now it's like significantly less. But at the same time, there's like I just feel like there's I feel like there's a lot of culture within Chinatown that kind of like that basically still I would say there's a lot of culture within Chinatown that still showcases itself and still presents itself, but there definitely is a kind of like a pushback in terms of just individuals and people being within the space. And then the second part was actually financial district. And usually when I go take photos, actually I'll go to either I'll go to Chinatown and then financial district, or financial district and then Chinatown. And the reason why I say financial district as well is because it's like the complete, like it is also very, very empty, but it's like it's very empty in a kind of weird sort of way. Like there's no reason for anyone to really be in the financial district other than like working. And so it's just so empty, but yet there's just so much space that is there. Like there's so much space that it's occupying, but at the same time, it's just like a completely empty like area. Even during the weekdays, you rarely you do see people walking on the street, but it's just so insignificant to how it used to be.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And you wonder whether it'll ever, like, what is it going to be? What is it going to mean? Are we going to get back there? What is it going to look like? Do we want it to go back there? What changes do we need to make? There's so many things. I want to ask the question, so how has this period impacted the creative process? Has it impacted, let's say, maybe, Nigel or Ariel, do you want to take this one? Who's the firster? Nigel? Ariel? Oh, that's you, Ariel.
I missed the rock, paper, scissors altogether. I was like a second behind that one. I'm sorry. So what? How is this period, like during COVID-19? How has it impacted your creative process, or has it? It hasn't so much, because I have spent a lot of time isolated in my own space. Disabled folk have been segregated for a long time. So the idea of making art frankly, it started in institutions, and it's been isolated and segregated since to this day. So it hasn't really changed much. The biggest part of my practice that has changed has been communicating with other organizations and other just members of the community about what it means to really bring about disability justice and in this perspective into your own frameworks, whether it be sketch or whether it be your own house with your family. So
yeah, awesome. Yeah. Let me just see if there's another different question we want to ask here. There is a lot of obviously great feedback, crazy contrast of what is potentially becoming legalized. So masks and life-saving, and our tendency is to waste. I think that question that you raised so poignantly around who's going to be cared for. Do you feel, Nigel, do you feel like this time like you are recognized and cared for during this time?
Oof. Okay, where do we start with that?
Yeah.
I think, wow. Okay.
You can always pass them.
Oh, no, it's okay. Definitely thought and cared for, but not to every single, I guess, like the circles that we've built for sure, on the broader spectrum. I don't know as much. I just want to give an example. So, okay, so like we're in a pandemic, we're in our social isolation. The things that we usually rely on or depend on are probably either closed or not happening anymore. And what's happening now is everyone's looking for music, playlists, movies, videos, photos, just something to like take them away from the place that they're in right now, whether it's mentally or physically. I just feel like, I guess, I don't know, it's just like a lot of people are doing their part. Not all of it is acknowledged, It's the little things to, like some of us DJing a live set for an hour goes like on Instagram or whatever, which goes such a long way, like for some people, just to like take them away from whatever is happening in the current moment, as opposed to, I don't know, spiraling, sitting at home and, you know, because not everybody can just, like, I guess what I'm trying to say is not everybody can just like, okay, cool, like we're in isolation, it's time to go in yourself and do yoga for the rest of the whole journey until we're back. Not everyone has those like defense mechanisms to just eventually, like out of nowhere, be a yogi, or just I don't know, like not all of us can like download an app and just listen to meditations like until things are okay, whenever, like whatever that means. Some of us need to move, but some of us don't have enough space to do it, you know? So it's like I'm just saying there's a lot of silent heroes out there, the ones that are teaching free classes on Zoom or IG Live, like dance classes, yoga classes, whatever, movement classes, people that are you know, throwing free concerts online. I'm saying right now, what's carrying us and keeping a lot of us sane is the arts, which is like,
cheers to that. Yes.
Yeah.
Shout out. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like,
yeah.
Even right now, like what is everyone gonna do after this? Probably like, I don't know, maybe cook and then play music, or play a playlist, or play a podcast, or stretch because we've all been sitting for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Like all these things that like a lot of people put so much time and energy to do, and I feel like it should be on the same spectrum as I don't know, doctor, lawyer, like it's the service,
right? Yeah, the whole conversation around essential workers. What does that mean?
Yes, okay, that's where I'm getting.
Right,
Yeah.
essential work.
No?
And how is it that the work you're doing and how that might move and make me a healthier human being, not essential to our lives, for sure. Yeah.
Right.
Thank you so much for that. I do want to just sneak one last question. I know we're at the 8:30, but I just really want to, because I messed up on that sound bite with my earpods. But Jamal, the question to you was about how could we share the teachings, like these lessons? Is there any way we could bring others together? What is that method that you can imagine that would bring others together and change society? We often talk about transformation through the arts for both ourselves and our community. How do you see that happening?
I feel like I feel like just constantly like being aware, like I feel like constantly being aware of what is happening and what people are doing, what people need, what just like listening to your body, listening to your mind as well. I feel like for me, example, or for example, with me, I feel like basically what I need is like I need to constantly create something. I can't necessarily just like Nigel was saying, where some people can just like pick up something or just do this to kind of like distract themselves. For me, I need to constantly keep my mind like I think in kind of like a creative process, or kind of like constantly moving. I feel like I'm a very energetic person most of the time, and like my mind is also similar to that, where I need to just constantly keep going. Sometimes I'll play like video games because I can't just like sit around and do nothing. I just kind of like start to lose my mind. Or like I'll go out and I'll take some photos. I feel like being able to do that, but at the same time also kind of showcasing that to the people around you. Actually, a friend of mine recently just told me that another friend of mine was talking about me in terms of that I went on like a little bike journey, and they were saying how they're inspired by like my bike journey to go out and bike. And it was just something I just wanted to do. I biked to like Evergreen Brickworks, and I just took like some videos and some photos there. and I kind of posted them on my on my Instagram story, and yeah, people were saying like, oh my God, next time you go, like, let me, like, I want to know, like, tell me, and I want to come through, and kind of just things like that. So it's not even necessarily something that I plan to do in terms of inspiring someone or to kind of like motivate someone, but it's just me kind of doing what I do and doing what I do to kind of keep myself like going. And I feel like people seeing that kind of gives them motivation as well. And I feel like, and vice versa as well, there's so many times where I would see someone do something, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, okay, I totally want to do this because I see this person doing this, and this person doing that. And and it could be something completely different from what I am used to doing or what I do. But it's just being able to see that like people are still going, and doing what they do, kind of basically kind of motivates me to want to keep going. Like I know for for another example, my partner, she's very, very dedicated, and she's like, yeah, she's constantly very, very much with her, like with emails and in Zoom meetings, and just seeing that kind of like motivates me to want, like sometimes she'll be doing in a Zoom meeting and I'm like, oh my gosh, she's so productive. I just want to like, I'll check my emails, like, oh, let me like try and like get some emails done, just because I feel like her productive energy is kind of like transferring to me. Or just like, yeah, just in general, just seeing that I feel like motivates me, and being able to express that or being able to kind of show that with like others as well, I feel like is important. But I kind of see it as a way, as kind of like a natural sort of like yeah, kind of like a natural transfer where you just kind of do, you don't necessarily expect to like inspire someone or motivate someone, just kind of do you and what your limitations are and what you can do and what you feel you can do. And yeah, like people notice, like people will see that.
Perfect. What a perfect wrap up.
Yeah.
Do you. And don't be afraid to inspire or be inspired. It's so awesome. Thank you. Unfortunately, we have to wrap up that part, but we just have a couple of small things to still do. But I do want to just acknowledge that these three young people also have lots of artwork that you can follow. We'll be posting what those contacts are so you can follow their work, like their work, share their work, get them out there as much as possible. We have the capacity to do that. And you can in some way, and sometimes you can even purchase their work. So that's also a possibility. There's so many more questions that I would love to have asked. There's a really critical one around, certainly around the question of accessibility, and one we really need to talk about at Sketch. So it's part of one of our major priorities this year, and we're looking to all of you, and Ariel especially, to be able to help us figure out that conversation. And my final message is just again, deep gratitude, humility, humble for what you all offered here tonight. And I really miss you folks. So thank you.